Kim Dae-ho wiped grease from his hands as the message arrived. The blue hologram flickered above his workbench in the Busan shipyard, casting strange shadows across the scattered engine parts. He had been working on a fusion drive for 3 days, straight, trying to fix what others called impossible. Master Mechanic Kim Dae-ho, the voice spoke in perfect Korean, though the accent was strange. You are summoned by the Galactic Council. A transport will arrive in 2 hours. Dae-ho stared at the message. At 35, he had fixed more broken ships than anyone in Korea. But the Galactic Council? That was different. Aliens rarely came to Earth, and when they did, it was never good news. So-min, he called to his workshop partner. Come look at this. Lee So-min appeared from behind a massive engine block, her coveralls stained with coolant. She was the best propulsion specialist in Asia, maybe the world. Her engines could push ships faster than anything the aliens had seen. What is it? She asked, then saw the hologram. Her eyes went wide. The Galactic Council? What do they want with us? I don't know, Dae-ho said, but we're about to find out. 2 hours later, a ship landed in the harbor. It looked like a giant crystal, all sharp edges and glowing lights. Dae-ho and So-min climbed aboard, feeling small among the alien crew. The ship rose into the sky without a sound, then shot toward the stars. The journey to the orbital station took only minutes. Dae-ho pressed his face to the window, watching Earth grow smaller below. He had never been in space before. The station hung in the darkness like a metal city, bristling with docking ports and communication arrays. Inside the station, they walked through corridors filled with aliens. Some looked like giant insects, others like walking trees. A few seemed to be made of pure energy. Dae-ho tried not to stare, but it was hard. So-min stayed close beside him, her hand on his arm. They were led to a massive chamber with walls that seemed to stretch forever. In the center sat a throne made of what looked like living crystal. On the throne sat the most beautiful and terrifying being Dae-ho had ever seen. Queen Veltara of the Kethmori Empire was 7 feet tall, with skin that shifted colors like the northern lights. Her eyes were deep purple, and when she looked at them, Dae-ho felt like she could see into his soul. Crystal growths emerged from her shoulders and arms, pulsing with inner light. Humans, she said, her voice like music made of ice. I have heard interesting things about your species. Behind her stood 6 guards in black armor. Each one carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. At the queen's side, a small creature that looked like a nervous bug whispered constantly in her ear. Your Majesty, Dae-ho said, bowing as he had seen in movies. We are honored by your invitation. The queen smiled, but it was not a kind smile. I have a task for you, human mechanic. A task that will test everything you know about building ships. She gestured, and the air filled with images. Dae-ho saw the center of the galaxy, where millions of stars crowded together. But between them raged storms of radiation that could kill anything that flew through them. For 10,000 years, my empire has sought to reach the galactic core, the queen continued. It is a sacred journey that no ship has ever completed. The radiation storms destroy everything that enters them. What do you want us to do? So-min asked. Build me a ship that can survive the journey, the queen said. Use your human cleverness to solve what no other species has accomplished. The images showed wreckage floating in space. Dozens of alien ships, all destroyed by the radiation. Dae-ho counted them. 12 different designs, probably from 12 different species. What happened to the others who tried? He asked. The queen's smile grew colder. They failed. Their species learned the price of failure. Dae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. This was not just about building a ship, This was about Earth's survival. If we succeed, So-Min asked, then humanity will be honored throughout the galaxy, the Queen said. You will have a place among the great species of the stars. And if we fail? The Queen said nothing, but her meaning was clear. The guards' weapons hummed louder. The small creature beside the throne whispered urgently in the Queen's ear. She waved it away with annoyance, but Dae-ho caught something in its eyes. Fear. And maybe pity? I will give you resources, the Queen continued. Materials beyond your current technology, but the design must be yours. The solutions must come from human minds. She stood from her throne, towering over them. You have 1 Earth year to complete this task. Begin immediately. As they were led away, Dae-ho's mind raced. He had built ships before, but nothing like this. The radiation at the galactic core could melt steel in seconds. It could tear apart atoms themselves. But humans had always found ways to solve impossible problems. They had reached the stars when everyone said it was impossible. They had built cities under the ocean and on the moon. Maybe they could do this too. In the transport back to the construction platform, So-Min grabbed his arm. Dae-ho, did you see the creature beside the Queen? It was trying to warn us about something. I saw, he said. But what choice do we have? If we don't try, Earth dies anyway. Then we better be very, very clever, So-Min said. The construction platform was huge, bigger than any building on Earth. Alien workers moved equipment with ease, setting up workshops and laboratories. Everything they needed was here, except for one thing: hope. As Dae-ho looked out at the stars, he thought about his grandfather, who had built ships during the war. His grandfather always said that the impossible just took a little longer to figure out. We'll need a team, he told So-Min. The best minds we can find. I know people, she said. Good people who think differently. That night, as they planned their approach, Dae-ho felt the weight of an entire planet on his shoulders. Somewhere below, 7 billion humans went about their lives, not knowing that their future depended on a mechanic from Busan and his crazy plan to build a ship that could fly through hell itself. The Queen's challenge seemed impossible, but humans specialized in doing the impossible. They had done it before, and they would do it again. They had to. 3 weeks later, Dae-ho stood in the center of the biggest workshop he had ever seen. The orbital platform stretched for miles in every direction, filled with alien technology he barely understood. But he was not alone anymore. Park Jin-woo arrived first. The quantum physicist was only 28, but his theories about space-time had already changed how humans thought about the universe. He wore thick glasses and always carried a notebook filled with equations that looked like art. This is impossible, Jin-woo said after reviewing the mission requirements. The radiation at the galactic core would tear apart any known material in seconds. Good thing we're not using known materials, Dae-ho replied. Next came Choi Na-ri, a materials engineer from Seoul National University. She had created new metals that could repair themselves and plastics stronger than steel. At 32, she was already famous for building things that should not exist. The aliens gave us samples of their hull materials, Nari said, holding up a silvery chunk of metal. It's incredibly advanced, but it still melts under extreme radiation. Then we make something better, Dae-ho said. The last team member was Yoon Tae-sung, an AI specialist who had designed the navigation systems for Earth's deep space probes. He was quiet and thoughtful, but his artificial minds could process information faster than any computer. The navigation alone is impossible, Tae-sung said. The radiation storms change every second. No computer can predict them. Then we build a computer that learns, Dae-ho said. The alien supervisors watched them with amusement. These beings had built ships that crossed galaxies, created weapons that could destroy planets, and ruled vast empires. To them, humans were barely more than clever animals. "You waste time on impossible dreams," said Supervisor Kixtall, a being that looked like a walking tree. 12 species have tried this task. All failed. Your primitive technology cannot succeed where they could. Not. But Deho had learned something important about aliens during his first weeks on the platform. They were incredibly advanced, but they always built things the same way. They followed rules and patterns that had worked for thousands of years. Humans were different. Humans broke rules. Nari started working on the hull problem first. The alien materials were amazing, but they were designed to resist specific types of damage. The galactic core radiation was different. It changed constantly, attacking materials in new ways every second. "What if we don't try to resist it?" Nari asked during one of their late-night planning sessions. "What if we use it?" She began mixing the alien metals with organic compounds from Earth. The result looked like living metal. It could sense incoming radiation and change its structure to absorb the energy instead of being destroyed by it. "It's like teaching the ship to eat radiation," she explained to the amazed alien observers. Jin Woo tackled the engine problem with equal creativity. Traditional engines pushed against space to create movement. But space itself was twisted and dangerous near the galactic core. The storms aren't just obstacles, Jin Woo realized. They're sources of incredible energy. What if we use them to power the ship? His quantum cascade engines worked backwards from normal design. Instead of fighting the radiation storms, they fed on them. The more dangerous the environment became, the faster the ship could travel. "Impossible," Supervisor Kixtall said when he saw the test results. "Energy cannot be created from destruction." "We're not creating energy," Jinwoo explained patiently. "We're redirecting it, like using a river's current to power a water wheel." Tae-sung's AI navigation system was the strangest of all. Instead of trying to predict the radiation storms, he created an artificial mind that could learn from them in real time. "Traditional computers process information," Tae-sung explained. "This AI experiences the radiation patterns. It feels them, learns their rhythms, and adapts. The AI used quantum processing to think faster than the storms could change. It was like having a navigator who could see a few seconds into the future." The alien observers grew more nervous each week. They had expected the humans to fail quickly, like the others. Instead, the humans kept finding solutions that should not work. "Your methods are chaotic," Supervisor Kixtall complained. "You break established laws of engineering." "Sometimes the laws are wrong," Daeho replied. As the months passed, the team faced setback after setback. The living metal sometimes ate too much radiation and grew out of control. The cascade engines occasionally opened tiny holes in space-time. The learning AI once became so fascinated by a radiation pattern that it forgot to navigate. But each failure taught them something new. Each problem led to a better solution. So Min worked on integrating all the systems together. Her job was to make sure the ship's different parts could work as one. It was like conducting an orchestra where every instrument was playing a different song. The ship needs to think like a living thing, she realized. Not just process information, but actually understand its environment. She connected the hull sensors to the AI brain, the brain to the engines, and the engines back to the hull. The ship became a closed loop of awareness and response. By month 8, they had built something that looked like no ship ever seen before. It was sleek and organic, covered in the shifting patterns of living metal. Energy flowed through it like blood through veins. The AI's thoughts could be seen as lights dancing across the hull. The alien supervisors stopped laughing. Some looked worried. Others seemed afraid. "This design is unprecedented," Supervisor Kixtall admitted. "It violates many principles of shipbuilding." "Good," Daeho said. "If we followed your principles, we'd fail like the others." They named the ship Soul's Thunder after Daeho's home city and the storm-eating engines that powered it. It was beautiful and strange, a fusion of human creativity and alien technology. But the real test was still coming. In 4 months, they would have to fly Soul's Thunder into the most dangerous region of space in the galaxy. The radiation storms that waited there had destroyed every ship that challenged them. As Daeho watched his team work, he felt a mix of pride and terror. They had built something amazing, something that might actually work, but might was not. Good enough when failure meant the death of their entire species. The Queen's deadline was approaching fast. Soon they would learn if human ingenuity was enough to save humanity, or if they had simply built the most advanced coffin in the galaxy. But Daeho had faith in his team. They had broken every rule, violated every principle, and created something truly new. Maybe that would be enough. Maybe their impossible ship could actually fly through hell and survive. The test flight began at dawn on a Tuesday. Daeho strapped himself into the pilot's seat of Soul's Thunder, while So-Min took her position at the engine controls. Through the ship's transparent hull, they could see the alien fleet watching from a safe distance. "All systems ready," So-Min reported. Her voice was calm, but Daeho could see her hands shaking slightly on the controls. The ship felt alive around them. The living metal hull rippled gently, sensing the space around them. The AI whispered constantly in the background, learning and adapting to every change in the environment. "Take us out slowly," Daeho said. Soul's Thunder drifted away from the construction platform like a fish swimming through dark water. The alien observers followed at a distance, their massive ships looking clumsy compared to the elegant human vessel. The test zone was a region of space where artificial radiation storms had been created. They were much weaker than the real storms at the galactic core, but still dangerous enough to destroy most ships. "First storm approaching," Taesung announced from his navigation station. "Radiation levels increasing." Through the hull, they could see the storm as a wall of twisted light and energy. It looked beautiful and deadly, like lightning frozen in space. "Remember," Jin Woo called from his position at the engine controls, "don't fight it. Let the ship eat it." The storm hit them like a hammer. Any normal ship would have been torn apart instantly. But Soul's Thunder was not a normal ship. The living metal hull began to glow as it absorbed the radiation. The cascade engines roared to life, feeding on the storm's energy. The AI laughed with electronic joy as it danced through the changing patterns of destruction. "Speed increasing," So-Min reported. "The engines are actually getting stronger." They flew through 3 more test storms, each one more powerful than the last. The ship not only survived, it thrived. The more dangerous the environment became, the better Soul's Thunder performed. "This is impossible," came a transmission from Supervisor Kickstall's observation ship. "No vessel should be able to survive those conditions." "Yet here we are," Daeho replied, but their celebration was cut short when Taesung detected something unexpected on his sensors. "There's a ship out there," he said. "It's caught in a radiation storm and losing power." On the main screen, they could see a massive alien vessel trapped in a swirling mass of deadly energy. Its hull was cracked and bleeding atmosphere. Distress signals filled the radio channels. "We need to help them," So-Min said immediately. "The test parameters don't include rescue operations," came a cold transmission from the alien observation fleet. "Continue with your scheduled flight plan." Daeho looked at his team. They had spent months building Soul's Thunder, but they had never forgotten why they were really here. They were human. Humans helped people. "Change of plans," Daeho announced. "We're going in." He turned the ship toward the trapped vessel. Soul's Thunder dove into the radiation storm like it was built for it. The living hull sang with absorbed energy while the cascade engines pushed them faster than ever before. The trapped ship was a research vessel from the Mordek Republic, a peaceful species known for their scientific achievements. Their captain was a proud being named Mordek, who had been exploring dangerous regions of space for 50 years. Human vessel, came a weak transmission. "You must not approach. Our shields are failing. You will be destroyed." "Not today," Deho replied. "Hang on, we're coming to get you." Sol's thunder wrapped itself around the alien ship like a protective shell. The living metal hull extended barriers that shielded the research vessel from the radiation. Slowly, carefully, they pulled it out of the storm. When they reached safety, Captain Mordek's ship was still intact. His crew was alive. The rescue had been impossible by every known law of space travel, but the humans had done it anyway. "How?" Captain Mordek asked when he came aboard Sol's Thunder. He was an elderly alien with scales like armor and eyes full of wisdom. "Your ship should not exist. Such technology is beyond any species I know. We built it differently," Deho explained. "We broke some rules." Captain Mordek walked through Sol's Thunder with wonder. He touched the living metal walls and listened to the AI's electronic thoughts. He watched the cascade engines turn destruction into power. "Remarkable," he whispered. "You have created something truly new." But as they talked, Captain Mordek's expression grew serious. He pulled Deho aside, away from the alien supervisors who had come aboard to inspect the ship. "Human Captain," he said quietly, "you must know something about Queen Veltara's true intentions." "What do you mean?" Deho asked. "I have studied the galactic core for 30 years, Mordek explained. "There is indeed something there that she seeks, but it is not for any pilgrimage. At the center of our galaxy lies an ancient weapon called the Core Forge." Deho felt his blood turn cold. "A weapon?" "Built by a species that vanished long ago," Mordek continued. "It is said to have the power to rewrite the basic forces of physics, to control gravity, time, even the structure of matter itself. And the Queen wants us to build her a ship that can reach it." "More than that," Mordek said grimly. "The 12 species that attempted this task before you, they were not volunteers. They were forced to try, just as you are now. When they failed, their worlds were destroyed as examples to others." The implications hit Deho like a physical blow. They had not just built a ship, they had potentially built the key to galactic domination. "But you succeeded where they failed," Mordek added. "Your ship can actually reach the Core Forge. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge?" Deho looked around at his team. So-Min was explaining the engine systems to fascinated alien engineers. Jin Wu was drawing equations for a group of scientists. Nari was showing off samples of the living metal. Tai Sung was deep in conversation with the ship's AI. They had built Sol's Thunder to save humanity. But now Deho realized they might have doomed the entire galaxy instead. "Captain Mordek," he said quietly, "how much does Queen Veltara know about what our ship can really do?" "She knows it passed the test," Mordek replied, "but I don't think she understands how completely you succeeded. Your rescue of my ship showed capabilities far beyond what she expected." That evening, as they returned to the construction platform, Deho watched the alien observation fleet through Sol's Thunder's sensors. The ships were following them, but keeping their distance. Some had their weapons powered up. "They're afraid of us," So-Min observed. "Good," Deho said. "Fear means respect." But deep inside, he was afraid too. They had built something incredible, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The question was whether they were strong enough to control what they had created. Queen Veltara was waiting for them at the platform. Her crystalline form glowed with anticipation as Sol's Thunder docked. Soon she would demand that they take her to the galactic core. Deho knew they could not refuse, but he also knew they could not simply hand over a weapon that could destroy civilizations. Somehow they would have to find a third option. They would have to be very, very clever. This real test was just beginning. The summons came at midnight. Queen Veltara's personal guards arrived at Deho's quarters without warning, their black armor gleaming under the station lights. They said nothing, but their meaning was clear. The Queen wanted to see him immediately. Sol's Thunder had been docked for only 6 hours since the successful test flight. Deho had hoped for more time to plan, to think about what Captain Mordek had told him, but Queens did not wait for mechanics to be ready. "All of you," the lead guard said in broken Korean. "The Queen wishes to see the entire team." So Min, Jinwoo, Nari, and Tai Sung were collected from their quarters as well. They were escorted through the station's corridors to a docking bay, where the Queen's flagship waited. The Crystal Throne was a massive ship, larger than most space stations. Its hull was made from the same living crystal as the Queen herself, pulsing with inner light. Inside the ship, the corridors seemed to bend space itself. Deho felt dizzy walking through passages that appeared to be longer on the inside than the outside. Gravity shifted strangely, sometimes pulling sideways or even upward. The throne room was beyond anything Deho had imagined. The crystal walls rose higher than his eyes could follow, disappearing into points of light that might have been stars. The floor was transparent, showing the depths of space below their feet. Queen Veltara sat on her throne at the center of it all. But she was different now. The aurora colors in her skin moved faster, more violently. Her purple eyes seemed to contain swirling galaxies. When she spoke, her voice echoed from directions that should not exist. "Humans," she said, and the word carried weight that pressed down on their shoulders. "You have exceeded my expectations." Behind the throne stood the same nervous creature that had whispered warnings during their first meeting. Today it looked terrified, its insect-like eyes darting constantly toward the exits. "Your ship performed admirably in the test," the Queen continued. "But tests are not reality. Now you will learn why I truly need a vessel capable of reaching the galactic core." The air around them filled with images. Deho saw star systems, burning, planets torn apart by invisible forces. Ships that seemed to be made of shadow moved through space, consuming everything in their path. "For 3,000 years, Queen Veltara explained, my empire has fought a hidden war against an enemy from beyond normal space. They call themselves the Shadow Hegemony, beings made of dark matter who seek to consume all regular matter in the galaxy." The images showed battles that defied understanding, ships firing weapons that erased pieces of reality, worlds disappearing into voids of absolute darkness, entire star systems going silent as something hungry moved through them. "We have held them back," the Queen said, "but barely. They grow stronger while we grow weaker. Soon they will launch their final assault, and when they do, every living thing in this galaxy will die." "What does this have to do with the galactic core?" Deho asked, though he already suspected the answer. "At the center of our galaxy lies the core forge," the Queen replied. "A weapon built by the ancients who came before us. It has the power to reshape the fundamental forces of reality itself. With it, I could stop the Shadow Hegemony forever." So Min stepped forward. "And the 12 species who tried before us?" The Queen's expression did not change. "They failed to build ships capable of reaching the core forge. Their species paid the price for that failure." "You destroyed them," Jinwoo said quietly. "I eliminated potential threats to galactic security," the Queen corrected. "A species capable of building core-worthy ships, but unwilling to use them for the greater good, is too dangerous to exist." The implications sent chills through the human team. They had built Sol's Thunder to save Earth, but success might have doomed them just as much as failure. "You present us with an ultimatum," Nari observed. "I present you with reality," the Queen replied. "Join my empire as valued allies and help me obtain the core forge, or be eliminated as a threat to galactic stability." Taesung had been quiet through the entire exchange, But now Daeho noticed him doing something strange. The AI specialist was holding a small device against his leg, scanning something. His face had gone pale. "Your Majesty," Daeho said, stalling for time while Tae-sung completed whatever he was doing. "You speak of saving the galaxy from the shadow hegemony. But how do we know you won't use the core forge to conquer everyone else?" The Queen laughed, and the sound was like crystal breaking. "Conquer? Why would I need to conquer when I already rule the greatest empire in the galaxy? No, human mechanic, I seek only to protect what exists." But something in her voice had changed. The aurora patterns in her skin flickered strangely, and for just a moment, dark spots appeared in the swirling colors. Tae-sung caught Daeho's eye and nodded slightly. Whatever he had been scanning, he had found what he was looking for. "The shadow hegemony," Somin said carefully. "They're made of dark matter. That's why normal weapons can't hurt them." "Precisely," the Queen agreed. "Only a weapon that can alter the basic structure of reality has any hope of stopping them." "Dark matter," Tae-sung said suddenly, his voice tight with realization. "You're partially made of dark matter yourself, aren't you, Your Majesty?" The throne room went deadly silent. The Queen's guards raised their weapons, energy humming threateningly. The nervous creature behind the throne made a sound like a whimper, but the Queen herself smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "Clever, little human," she said. "Yes, I carry dark matter within my crystalline matrix. It is what allows me to understand my enemies, to fight them effectively. Or to join them," Daeho said, the pieces finally falling into place. The Queen's smile widened. "The shadow hegemony grows stronger every day. Soon they will be unstoppable. When that day comes, I intend to be on the winning side." "You're planning to betray everyone," Nari whispered in horror. "I'm planning to survive," the Queen corrected. "The core forge will give me the power to reshape reality according to shadow hegemony principles. Dark matter will consume regular matter, and I will rule what remains." The aurora colors in her skin were fading now, replaced by spreading patches of absolute darkness. Her purple eyes began to swirl with the same hungry void they had seen in the images of shadow hegemony attacks. "Of course," she continued, "the shadow hegemony will need servants who understand this reality, beings who can bridge the gap between what was and what will be. Your species could serve that purpose if you prove useful enough." "And if we refuse?" Daeho asked. "Then you join the 12 species whose remains drift in the void," the Queen said. "The choice is yours, but choose quickly. My patience grows thin, and the dark matter in my system grows stronger every day." The human team looked at each other with growing horror. They had built Soul's Thunder to save humanity, but instead they had created the key to galactic genocide. The Queen was not trying to stop the shadow hegemony. She was trying to join them. "How long?" So-min asked quietly. "Until the transformation is complete?" the Queen mused. "Perhaps a few more months, long enough to reach the core forge and claim its power, long enough to prepare for the new reality that is coming." "We need time to consider your offer," Daeho said. "You have until tomorrow," the Queen replied. "Then you will take me to the galactic core, willingly or otherwise." As the guards escorted them back to their quarters, Daeho's mind raced. They had less than 24 hours to figure out how to stop a galactic apocalypse. Soul's Thunder was the only ship capable of reaching the core forge, but using it to help the Queen would doom trillions of lives. There had to be another way. Humans were good at finding other ways, but this time, the impossible might actually be impossible. This time, being clever might not be enough. The escape was simpler than Daeho had expected. Queen Veltara was so confident in her power that she had not bothered to guard them closely. Her dark matter corruption made her arrogant, blind to the possibility that humans might find a way to fight back. It was Tae-sung who noticed the patrol gap in the station's security. His AI training had taught him to see patterns that others missed. At exactly 3:17 a.m., there was a 14-minute window when the corridor to Soul's Thunder would be unwatched. They moved quickly and quietly through the darkened passages. Behind them, the crystal throne pulsed with malevolent light as the queen dreamed of conquest. Ahead lay their ship and the slim hope of escape. Soul's Thunder welcomed them like a loyal pet. The living metal hull rippled with recognition as they climbed aboard. The AI whispered greetings in electronic voices that sounded almost relieved. "Where are we going?" So-Min asked as she powered up the engines. "Luna Station Alpha," Dae-Ho replied. "Captain Mordek gave me the coordinates before he left. It's a hidden base on the far side of Earth's moon." The journey through hyperspace took 3 hours. Soul's Thunder flew like a ghost ship, its advanced systems making it nearly invisible to alien sensors. By the time Queen Veltara discovered, they were gone. They would be safely hidden. Luna Station Alpha was built inside a crater on the moon's dark side. From space, it looked like nothing more than another impact scar, but as they approached, hidden doors opened to reveal a sophisticated military facility. Admiral Kang Soo-jin was waiting for them in the docking bay. She was a small woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. Behind her stood a team of Earth's best scientists and military officers. "Welcome to the real Earth Defense Force," Admiral Kang said as they disembarked. "We've been expecting you." The hidden base was larger than Dae-Ho had imagined. Tunnels stretched deep into the moon's interior, filled with weapons laboratories and strategic planning centers. Thousands of people worked here in secret, preparing for a war they hoped would never come. "How long have you known?" Dae-Ho asked as they walked through the command center. "About Queen Veltara's true nature?" "We suspected from the beginning," Admiral Kang replied. "About the fate of the 12 previous species? We learned that 6 months ago when Captain Mordek brought us evidence." She led them to a briefing room where holographic displays showed star charts and battle plans. On one wall hung portraits of the 12 alien species that had tried and failed to build core-capable ships. They looked proud and noble, all of them now extinct. "Earth's intelligence agencies have been watching the galaxy for decades," Admiral Kang explained. "We knew this day would come eventually. The question was whether humanity would be ready." Dr. Han Mi-young, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stepped forward. She was a brilliant woman who had studied alien physiology for 20 years. "We've been analyzing Queen Veltara's condition," Dr. Han said. "The dark matter infection is progressive and irreversible by normal means, but there might be a way to separate the corrupted matter from her original crystalline structure." "Could that save her?" Nari asked. "Possibly," Dr. Han replied, "but the process would be extremely dangerous and would require getting very close to her." Admiral Kang activated the main display, showing a detailed map of the galactic core region. "Here's what we know about the core forge. It's not just a weapon, it's a test. The ancient race that built it designed it to identify species mature enough to handle ultimate power." "What kind of test?" Jin Woo asked. "The willingness to sacrifice." "Ultimate power for the greater good," Admiral Kang replied. "According to Captain Mordek's research, species that try to claim the core forge for conquest are destroyed by its defenses. Only those who approach with pure intentions can access its true power." Dae-Ho studied the star charts, his engineer's mind working through the implications. "You want us to reach the core forge before the Queen does?" "More than that," Admiral Kang said. "We want you to destroy it." The room went silent. Tae-sung was the first to speak. "Destroy the one weapon that could stop the shadow hegemony?" "The shadow hegemony is real," Dr. Han confirmed. "But they're not the unstoppable force the Queen believes them to be. Our analysis suggests they can be defeated through unity and cooperation, not through ultimate weapons." Admiral Kang brought up new displays showing Earth's hidden alliances. We've been building a coalition for years. The Mordek Republic, the Crystal Gardens Collective, the Free Traders Union, dozens of species working together against tyranny. But we need Soul's Thunder to prove it's possible, she continued. Your ship represents a new way of thinking, a fusion of different technologies and ideas. If you can destroy the core forge instead of claiming it, you'll show the galaxy that cooperation is stronger than conquest. So Min leaned forward. What about Earth? If we fail, Queen Veltara will destroy our planet. We're prepared for that possibility, Admiral Kang said grimly. Earth's population has been quietly evacuated to hidden colonies. If the worst happens, humanity will survive. Daeho felt the weight of decision pressing down on him. They could try to destroy the core forge and hope that would stop the Queen's plans. But if they failed, both Earth and the galaxy would fall to the shadow hegemony. There's another option, Taesung said quietly. What if we modify Soul's Thunder with self-destruct systems? If we can't destroy the core forge externally, we could destroy it from within. Prometheus protocols. Admiral Kang nodded approvingly. We've prepared the necessary modifications, but whoever triggers them won't be coming home, Daeho finished. I understand. They spent the next 12 hours preparing Soul's Thunder for its final mission. The living metal hull was reinforced with quantum explosives that could tear holes in space-time itself. The Cascade engines were modified to overload in a controlled chain reaction. The AI was programmed with new protocols that would activate if the crew was unable to complete the mission. Dr. Han's team installed dark matter sensors that could detect Queen Veltara's corruption and potentially neutralize it. It was a long shot, but if they could cure the Queen instead of fighting her, they might save both the galaxy and humanity. As they worked, reports came in from across the galaxy. Queen Veltara's fleet was mobilizing, searching for the escaped humans. Other alien empires were choosing sides, some joining the Queen out of fear, others secretly supporting Earth's coalition. Captain Mordek arrived with a small fleet of research vessels, bringing additional scientific equipment and moral support. His aged face was grim but determined. The Queen has issued an ultimatum to Earth, he reported. Surrender the humans and Soul's Thunder within 48 hours or face total destruction. She's afraid, Daeho realized. She knows we can reach the core forge and she can't let us get there first. Then we better leave soon, Somin said, as Soul's Thunder prepared for departure. Daeho looked back at the hidden moon base, where thousands of humans worked in secret to save their species. These people had spent years preparing for this moment, sacrificing their normal lives to build weapons and strategies that might never be used. Now it all came down to 5 people in an impossible ship, racing toward the center of the galaxy. To prevent an apocalypse, are we ready? Admiral Kang asked over the communication system. Daeho looked at his team. So Min with her steady hands and brilliant mind, Jin Woo with his quantum theories and wild imagination, Nari with her living metals and impossible materials, Taesung with his AI companions and pattern recognition. They had built something amazing together. Now they would see if it was enough to save the galaxy. We're ready, Daeho replied. Soul's Thunder lifted off from the hidden moon base and turned toward the galactic core. Behind them, Queen Veltara's fleet gave chase. Ahead lay the most dangerous region of space in the galaxy, and at its heart, a weapon that could reshape reality itself. The final race had begun. The galactic core was more beautiful and terrifying than any of them had imagined. Millions of stars crowded together in a spiral dance of light and energy, their combined radiation creating storms that could tear apart matter itself. At the center of it all, barely visible through the chaos, hung the core forge. It was larger than Earth's moon, built from materials that seemed to bend light around them. Ancient spires reached out into space like the fingers of a sleeping god. Energy. Patterns flowed across its surface in designs too complex for human minds to fully understand. "My God," whispered Jin Woo as Seoul's thunder approached through the radiation storms. "How old must this thing be?" "Older than our galaxy," Tae-sung replied, reading data from the ship's enhanced sensors. "The AI estimates it was built at least 15 billion years ago." Seoul's thunder flew through the radiation storms like it was born to them. The living metal hull sang with absorbed energy, while the cascade engines grew stronger with every mile they traveled. The AI laughed with electronic joy as it danced through patterns of destruction that would have killed any other ship. But they were not alone. Queen Veltara's crystal armada arrived from hyperspace just as Seoul's thunder reached the core forge's outer defenses. Hundreds of crystalline ships filled the space around them, their hulls pulsing with dark energy. The Queen's transformation was nearly complete now. Her ships had become extensions of her corrupted will. "Human vessel," came the Queen's transmission, her voice distorted by dark matter interference. "You cannot escape your destiny. Surrender the core forge to me, and I will grant your species a quick death." But more ships were arriving. Captain Mordek's research fleet emerged from another direction, followed by vessels from the Free Traders Union and the Crystal Gardens Collective. Then came something unexpected, ships that looked like they were made of living shadow. "The Bay Shadow Hegemony," Somin breathed in horror. The dark matter beings had sensed the approaching convergence and come to claim their prize. Their ships moved through space like holes in reality, consuming light and energy as they passed. "3 fleets," Daeho observed grimly, "all of them wanting the same thing." "Actually," came a new voice over the communications, "I believe we all want different things." The speaker was Admiral Carathen of the Galactic Coalition, commanding a mixed fleet of ships from dozens of different species. They had come to witness what might be the most important moment in galactic history. "The humans have the only ship capable of reaching the core forge," Admiral Carathen continued. "Let them decide what happens next." All eyes turned to Seoul's thunder as it approached the ancient weapon. The core forge's defenses activated, sending waves of energy that would have destroyed any normal vessel. But Seoul's thunder absorbed the attacks and converted them into forward momentum. "The station is scanning us," Tae-sung reported. It's trying to understand what we are." "What do you mean?" Daeho asked. "The core forge isn't just a weapon," Tae-sung realized. "It's an intelligence. It's testing us to see if we're worthy of its power." Images began to flow through Seoul's thunder's communication systems. The AI translated them into concepts the human crew could understand. They saw the ancient builders of the core forge, beings of pure energy who had transcended physical existence eons ago. The weapon had been left behind as a test for younger species. Those who approached seeking conquest would be destroyed. Those who approached seeking wisdom would be elevated. Those who approached seeking sacrifice. "It's offering us a choice," Nari said in wonder. "We can claim ultimate power for humanity, or we can destroy the weapon to protect everyone else." "Some choice," Somin muttered. "Become galactic dictators, or save the galaxy through martyrdom." But Daeho was thinking about something else. What if there's a third option? What if we can use the core forge's power to help everyone instead of conquering them? The space battle erupted around them as Queen Veltara's forces attacked the coalition fleet. Dark matter ships phased through normal defenses, while crystalline vessels fired beams of corrupted energy. The coalition responded with coordinated strikes from dozens of different weapon types. Through it all, Seoul's thunder continued its approach to the core forge. The ancient station's defenses parted before them like curtains, recognizing something in their intentions that satisfied its requirements. "We're inside the station's perimeter," Tae-sung announced. "The core forge it's inviting us in." They docked with a structure that defied physics. their ship connecting to ports that adjusted themselves to fit Soul's Thunder's unique design. As they walked through the station's corridors, the walls showed them visions of what could be. With the Core Forge's power, they could reshape the galaxy. They could eliminate poverty, disease, and war. They could give every species the technology to reach the stars and explore the universe. They could become gods, or they could destroy it all and trust in something harder to quantify, the ability of different species to work together without ultimate power forcing cooperation. The Shadow Hegemony ships are breaking through the coalition. Lines, So-Min reported over the communication system. They'll reach the station in minutes. Queen Veltara is right behind them, Jinwoo added. Her dark matter corruption is accelerating. She's becoming something that isn't even alive anymore. At the heart of the Core Forge, they found the control chamber. It was a sphere of pure energy suspended in space, surrounded by controls that responded to thought rather than touch. The power here was beyond imagination. The ability to rewrite the fundamental forces that held the universe together. We could fix everything, Nari said, her hand hovering over the activation controls. End all suffering. Stop all wars. By force, Daeho replied. By making everyone the same, instead of letting them choose to be different. Explosions echoed through the station as the Shadow Hegemony forces reached the outer docks. Dark matter. Entities flowed through the corridors like living nightmares, consuming everything in their path. Humans! Queen Veltara's voice boomed through the station. She had arrived, her crystalline form now more shadow than light. You will give me that power. Actually, Daeho said, activating Soul's Thunder's external speakers so his voice carried throughout the station, we have a better idea. Instead of claiming the Core Forge's power or destroying it, they activated Dr. Han's dark matter separation device. The technology was untested and dangerous, but it was their only chance to save Queen Veltara from her corruption. The device sent waves of precisely tuned energy through the station. The Shadow Hegemony entities screamed as their dark matter forms were disrupted. But more importantly, the energy reached Queen Veltara just as she entered the control chamber. The corruption that had been consuming her crystalline structure began to separate. Dark matter flowed out of her like oil being drawn from water. For the first time in months, her aurora-colored skin began to glow with its original beauty. What? What have you done? She gasped, her voice returning to its musical clarity. We saved you, So-Min replied simply. But the separation process had consequences. The expelled dark matter coalesced into a new form. A pure Shadow Hegemony entity, more powerful than any they had faced before. It reached for the Core Forge's controls. With tendrils of absolute darkness, I will remake this reality, it hissed in a voice like the void between stars. All matter will serve the darkness. That was when Daeho made the final choice. Not to claim the power, not to destroy it, but to share it. He activated the Core Forge's true function, not as a weapon, but as a teacher. The ancient intelligence began broadcasting its knowledge to every ship in the system. Not ultimate power, but ultimate understanding. The Shadow Hegemony entity screamed as it was forced to understand the perspectives of matter-based life. The coalition forces gasped as they comprehended the fears and needs of dark matter beings. For the first time in galactic history, all forms of life could truly see each other. Cooperation, Daeho announced, as the Core Forge's energy flowed through space. Not conquest, not domination. Working together because we choose to, not because we're forced to. The entity of pure shadow hesitated, its rage faltering as it experienced what it felt like to exist as matter, to build instead of consume, to create instead of destroy. This is possible, it whispered. Everything is possible, Queen Veltara said, her purified form glowing with renewed purpose. when we work together. The space battle stopped as ships from all sides received the Core Forge's gift of understanding. Weapons powered down. Hatred faded. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy knew peace not through force but through choice. The Core Forge, its purpose finally fulfilled, began to fade. The ancient intelligence had waited billions of years for a species mature enough to pass its true test. Not the willingness to claim power or destroy it, but the wisdom to share it. As Sol's thunder flew home through space filled with former enemies now working together, Day-Ho reflected on what they had accomplished. They had not saved the galaxy through superior weapons or ultimate power. They had saved it by remembering what it meant to be human, to help others, even when it cost them everything. Queen Veltara's ship flew alongside them, her crystalline hull shining with purified light.